Oh, so this will help us to refer at a later point.
Yes, absolutely, sir. I have started the recording. And one question I have to you that what is your last discussion that you had 10 minutes before? Could you tell me?
Yeah, you were on slide for Azure Load Balancer, and then you moved to this content which I missed from that point onward.
Okay. Probably I was just saying that what is the difference between public load balancer and private load balancer? Okay. No problem, sir. I will just recall a few words. I think that will be
Okay,
help you
okay,
to get the track. Okay.
okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. So I was saying, let me go back to our previous discussion. Just one or two discussion. Let me recall it. Like I was saying that public load balancer or private load balancer is a load balancer itself is a layer 4 load balancer. There is a two type, public and private. The public load balancer have a two hand. One hand is going outside as a front pool or front hand, and another hand that is back end, which is always come inside. Okay, inside means under the Azure infrastructure. So the load balancer have no function uh, for the database propagation or application changes propagation. No, load balancer is just doing the balancing the load, whatever request, whatever load is appearing to it. Okay, it is just distributing the load among the group which is there behind the which is there as a backend pool. So the whatever request is receiving by this load balancer, the request will be distributing. So by default, load balancer is using round robin process to distribute the traffic. Okay. Otherwise, we have a health probe process that using that also the load balancer can distribute the traffic. Health probe is monitoring the health of the backend pool, like my VM is healthy or not, whether it is reachable or not. So if it is not reachable or not healthy, in that case, the load balancer will remove the VM information from the database that it holds for the balancing the load. Got it. So using health probe also, the load balancer can propagate the load to the particular VM or pool of VM. Depends. Yes. So public load balancer is going to outside one hand and another hand is going inside. So I have another load balancer called internal load balancer or private load balancer. Uh, so that public or private load balancer have two hand, which is uh, always stay inside. There is no way to go outside, right? So internal LB. So internal LB is always stay inside, and all the hand of the internal LB is communicating with internal resources that you would have. Let's say so. These are the database. Okay, for a sake of understanding, and these are my virtual web application services running inside this VM. So when these web services are accessing my database, okay, they are sending the request to my database, and since I have many databases, so which database is there to receive the query and respond it? So I put another load balancer before my database servers. So the request which is provided or which is originated from the VM, okay, again it will be load balanced and distributing to the databases present behind my internal load balancer. So this is the area where you can use your load balancer as your load balancer for distributing the load. In case of internal load balancer, you don't need to have a public IP address because all hand present in an internal network. But in case of public load balancer, we would have a public IP address because we have to call our public load balancer using public IP. or we can create a alias record if I have any DNS hosting, as we have done yesterday, remember. So if we have a DNS hosting, we can create an alias record against the IP address of the public load balancer, and we can call the public load balancer using the alias name. Okay. That also you can do it. So this is the overall function of the load balancer. Now if I go to the slide, see, this is a public load balancer, front end and back end. Depends on the front end, the load balancer can be categorized either public or internal. So in case of public load balancer, one hand will go to the outside as we have discussed, and another hand will come to the inside mode. And for internal load balancer, we don't need any public accessibility. All the hand will present in the internal network. Load balancer SKUs basic and standard. Audience, previously for demonstration or for lab activity, we were using basic load balancer, but somehow uh, Microsoft Azure is not giving a good solution with the basic load balancer. Probably in upcoming days, the basic load balancer will be deprecated by Azure. Okay. Uh, so what is the difference between these two? Basic load balancer is supporting only one VM, individual VM, only one availability set, or only one VM scale set. So this availability set, this VM scale set, that we will discuss later. Just to understand, availability set and VM scale set is a pool of VM that we can add as a pool or as a backend to the load balancer. So that is a basic load balancer concept. But if you go for the standard load balancer, then you can add multiple virtual machine, individual virtual machine. You can add multiple availability set. You can add multiple scale set of a VM. So these are the changes. And obviously, basic load balancer is free of cost. You don't have to pay anything. But standard load balancer, there is a cost. Okay. So if you are creating public load balancer, then public IP will be assigned automatically, dynamically, or the static way, depends on that. Or uh, if you use internal load balancer, then public IP assignment is not present there. We don't need to do this. Backend pool, you can add the backend pool. There is a basic SKU and standard SKU. So VMs in a single availability set or VM scale set, any VM in the single virtual network, blend of VMs, availability sets, VM scale sets. So many things you can do with the standard SKU. Sorry, audience. Load balancer rules. So we have to define the rules based on which the load balancing process will be happen. We have to define the backend pool. We have to define the port number. Okay. Health probe. Health probe is a process through which the load balancer understand the backend virtual machine health, whether it is running properly or not, the service is running good or not. Okay, depends. We can define the NAT rules to access some specific things, like if you want to access your RDP, like you want to take a RDP of your VM, okay, using a load balancer. In that particular case, you can use a NAT rules. Okay, we will say this. Session persistency.
Sorry,
Session
Sujit, can
persist.
you go back? Sorry, Sujit, can you go back 2 slides back?
Two slides. This one or before
No,
that?
before this.
Yeah,
Before this, Sujit.
before this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. See, what is this last one? The load balancer front ends are not accessible across global virtual network peering. See, global virtual network peering is nothing but peering between VNets across multiple locations or regions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
load balancer front ends are not accessible across.
Global
So
virtual
what does
network
the
peering. That means if you made a peer between a two virtual network, where
Mhm.
the virtual networks present in a different region or different subscription. So
Mhm.
if you have a peering between the VNets which is present in a different region and different subscription, in that case, one
Mhm.
virtual network cannot access the load balancer present in another virtual network, like this. So that's why it is called that it is not available for global virtual network peering. Like you want to access your VM, your application is running in one VNet 1, okay,
Ah, okay.
and your
Uh,
database is running in VNet 2, and you have made a
mhm.
peering between. Now your application is communicating with the load balancer which is present in VNet 2 that may be present in South India, but your application is running in US region, and you have
Mhm.
made the peering in between. So your
Mhm.
application cannot communicate with the load balancer, okay, which is present in South India for database load balancing process or database server load balancing process. So you cannot communicate with that.
Mhm. Okay. So across that peering network, I cannot connect with that, is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Thanks, Sujit.
yeah, sure. Okay, session persistency. Session persistency is something which is opposite of load balancing. That means you have to define the specific or persistent session with a specific backend pool or backend resources. So let's say you send a query www.tcs.com and you have 5 machines which can hold the same service, okay, and anyone can respond you, right? But if you have enabled the session persistency, only one particular machine always responding you, no matter that machine is getting already heavy load or not. So that particular machine is always providing answer to you, whatever request you are sending. Now, if you want to properly understand the session persistency, assume that first time I made a request tcs.com and I have 5 VM that can answer me. So which VM first time answer me? That is not fixed. Again, I'm repeating. First time I'm calling tcs.com. So I have 5 VM that can answer me. So when I made a first request, that is not fixed, that who is going to respond me. So that first request always getting load balanced. Any of the VM can respond me. But once a VM is responding me, now that VM will be fixed for my activity. So upcoming ongoing request, whatever I will have afterwards, all the requests will go to the same VM because first time that VM responds me, okay, and according to the response, I made a session persistency. My maybe from the client IP or some protocol and client IP using both.
Like
So
sticky
that,
session.
yeah, sticky session you can say, okay,
Yeah, okay.
and only that VM will get me response always. Got it? So first request always load balanced, but ongoing request is not going to load balance. Only specific VM which has provided the response against the first request, that VM will be specific for that particular user. Okay, that is called session persistency. Now, session persistency can be configured using client and IP, no matter what type of request it is creating. It is throwing what any request that is coming from same IP address, client IP address, will be forwarded to the same VM which is running behind. Or you can say client IP and protocol, like so if Sujit machine is sending a request for HTTP or HTTPS, then VM1 is always responding. But if Sujit is sending a query for port number something else, 1024, maybe different VM or multiple VM can respond me. So this way you can change the protocol and the IP address, and you can make the persistency, session persistency according to your plan. That how it is happening for a particular client. Okay. Health probe. For health probing, the load balancer always sending a packet or say you can say hello packet to the backend pool to understand your backend pool is live or not. For sending the help probe, sometime we can configure TCP or UDP packets only. Okay, or we can say HTTP based path definition. Now, if I mention path definition based on HTTP, that means we are not really thinking about the virtual machine which is running behind. We are really thinking about the service or the specific path. For example, if I say, if in this slide that whatever we are getting, that there is a path, if I say slash HTML, sorry, index.html. So if a backend pool, if in a root path, if there is no index.html, okay, then maybe my virtual machine is running good, no problem. But due to that path is not available or the load balancer is not getting the path, the VM is considered as a down. So any request coming to the load balancer, it is not going to that particular virtual machine because that particular file is missing from the virtual machine. Got it. So you can write your health probe, you can define your health probe based on your situation, based on the plan. Like you want to find out a specific path or file to understand your VM is running or not, or VM health is good or bad, or you can just send a TCP packet or UDP packet to search the VM condition, how it is. So there is an interval that how frequent it is sending the probe request, and if probe request is failed to respond, how many probe requests need to be failed to declare the backend pool is down. That also you can mention an unhealthy threshold value. Okay. Azure Application Gateway. So before we go for the Azure Application Gateway, I will configure the load balancer in my portal.
Agreed. I
Audience,
just wanted to know that is there
yeah,
any specific mechanism to set round robin setting or best client server health type of configuration, and how it is work? Means
no,
how he is distributing load to particular VM backend VMs.
yes. So that we will see actually. That I'm going to show you in the portal. I know that query is very generic query. Everyone is asking me. The answer
Okay.
is there in the portal. Actually, there is no proper definition of the load distribution. By default, internally it is using round robin. But when we configure
Mm-hmm.
the portal, you will see there is only one option, health probe. Okay,
Okay.
there is no proper way to define it. Got it. So that we will see in the portal. Just wait for a while.
Okay.
Audience, 1 minute.
Okay.
1 minute. I'm configuring it, but I have some call. I think. Just 1 minute. I'm just putting my mic off. Yes, audience, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. So audience, now I'm configuring load balancer. Create load balancer. Wait for a while. Okay, so same way, I need to add the resource group, probably ISPRG. Name of the load balancer, I can say prod, just to understand public LB, like this. Location is, I should find my virtual machine and the pool of the virtual machine, so I will choose the same location where I could have it. So east-west 2. Now type is internal or public. Obviously public I'm choosing. SKU is basic or standard. I will go with the standard so that I can find more information here. Public IP address. Let me choose existing one. Let me. Do I have hub spoke VM? Okay. No, I don't have. Create new one. Prod LB PIP. Prod LB load balancer public IP for easy understanding. Assignment static. Public IP address. Availability zone. I can choose the availability zone for my load balancer high availability. Okay, anyway, it again that is virtual machine running behind this load balancer appliance. Okay, so I can say zone redundant. Instead of mentioning any zone, I just say zone redundant. What is the difference between zone redundant and specific zone? That we will discuss later during our VM provisioning process. Now add a public IP version 6 address, yes or no. Choice depends on me. So I just leave that option blank and I will create it. Review and create. So it is validating the setup, whatever it is there. After validating, it will start creation. Now create it. Okay. So wait for a while. Done. Go to resource. So this is the front end IP configuration. You can check your front end IP configuration, what the public IP it has taken from the Microsoft. This is the front end IP. Okay. And backend pool. Now go to the backend pool. Audience, when I try to add the backend pool, probably I will get a fail message. And I need to say this, means I need to have this fail message. Okay, let me add the backend pool. Prod back pool. Let's say 1, mentioning it. Virtual network, I have VNet 1, IP version 4. Yeah, see, I am getting this message that no virtual machine is found in east-west 2 that machines that have the above criteria. But I knew I have 2 virtual machine and one of the virtual machine present in this location. Then why it is showing this particular message? This is one kind of error. Since you know that virtual machine present in this location, but still it is showing there is no VM. Where is the problem? Problem is here. Open your VM. List of VM I have, 2 VM I have. Wait for the information fetched. See, the VM is placed in East US2, and in backend, my load balancer is saying that there is no virtual machine is present in East US2. Why this is? Let me open my VM here. I need to change one setup. Go to networking. Open your NIC. There is an option IP configuration. Open this one. IP config. There is the IP address, private IP address, public IP address. So open this one. Now there is a public IP associated with my VM NIC, right? I need to disassociate it. I need to disassociate the public IP with from my VM NIC. Otherwise, that VM is not going to add with my load balancer, because load balancer doesn't allow any VM which is having a public IP, because you can directly access the VM. Then why do you need load balancer? The backend pool which is present behind the load balancer, that should be have a public interface, that should not have any that should have a private interface, that should not have a public interface, because now onwards all your public connectivity happen through the load balancer. You cannot directly call the VM for any reason. So once you disassociate, okay, and made it safe here, now you can go to the load balancer. Just close the area and again recall it. Just wait for a while, let it be searched. Now that option is appeared. So without putting any name here or virtual network, okay, I need to choose the virtual network, I think. Okay, so I can find my virtual machine here. So when I choose my virtual machine, now it will show me the IP config which is related with the private IP, not a public IP. Got it. Now I can provide the backend pool, back lb pool underscore one. I have a VM scale set option. If I have any VM scale set in the same location with same set of setup, I can find this one also. But now I just do the OK. Wait for a while. Let it be add, then I can move forward. Audience, are you getting any sound from my side?
No, we are good. I'm good.
Just 1 minute, audience. Audience, just give me 2 to 3 minutes. I'll be back. Just give me 2 to 3 minutes. Please don't mind. I'll be back. Yes, audience. This is Sujit. I'm back. Sorry for the disturbance. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, so that backend pool has been added here. You can see there is a VM1 and all those stuff. Now, how do I access my backend pool? Before we access my backend pool, let me discuss the health probe load balancing rules and inbound NAT rules. After doing these 3 steps, then we can access this VM, okay, as a backend pool. So first, let me go to the health probe. Add your health probe here. So health probe is the option through which you can understand that your backend pool is healthy or not. As I told you that you can communicate with your backend pool to understand that health of the backend area, how it is. You can send TCP related packets, or you can send HTTP or HTTPS related informations, right? So if you say HTTP or HTTPS, then you have to put the path. If that path is not available to the backend pool, okay, whatever you are mentioning here, that will be searching. Means if you say, okay, in D drive, you say index dot html, If you say like this, then all the backend pool, all the VMs or pool of VMs you have, your load balancer try to find out this particular file in the D drive. If have any D drive and this file is present there, then that backend pool is healthy or backend VM is healthy. Otherwise, it is not healthy. So when I'm not sure about the same, that what kind of file is there and how it is, I just leave that options. I just go with the TCP. So if I choose TCP, as long as my VM is running and the TCP session is running there, so my VM is well and good. But instead of searching the VM, if you want to search the particular service, then you should go for the HTTP or HTTPS, and you can put the file name like I mentioned previously. Okay. So port number TCP, you can do any kind of customization port, but do remember that your backend pools should open this port at their end. Otherwise, if your backend pool is block the port by using internal firewall, OS-based firewall, then you will get another problem. Okay. So interval after every 5 seconds, you can minimize it, you can maximize it. Choice is yours. Okay, let's say I will do 7 seconds. Threshold value is 3. So if consecutive consecutive three probe missed to respond by the backend pool, then that will be considered as a down machine or down backend pool. So one health probe has configured here. After creating the health probe, now I'm going to the load balancing rules. So I have got a query that what is the load balancing rules means. How do I define the rules of the load balancer? So the option is here. So in this load balancing rules, front end IP address is this one. That is a public IP of my load balancer. Port number, backend port, that we can change accordingly. Okay, that's not a big deal. Backend pool is this one. That's absolutely okay. Health probe. So the load balancing rules, whatever we have, that is only a health probe. So based on the health probe, the load balance will happen. And as I told you, by default, it is using round robin. Okay. So that's why there is no specific load balancing rules that we can find in the on-prem load balancer like Netscaler, F5, where we can define different type of rules, specific rules based on which the load balancing can happen. Okay, but in this particular load balancer, layer 4 load balancer or Azure load balancer, we have only health probe to understand the backend pool health, and based on that, if everything is good, then using round robin, they are distributing the load. Okay, and we don't have any other rules available, but yes, create implicit outbound rules. Okay, and direct server return. What these two things, I will come into this point. So now I have to put the name of the load rules like prod lb rule 1. Front end IP address is okay. Port number, I can choose front end port, back end port, whatever. If you want to have a secure port, then you have to use 443. Secure port in backend, you can use 443. Backend pool is this one, or you can choose your backend pool. Choice is yours. And health probe has taken automatically this one. Session persistency, I'm not going to use. Otherwise, I can open this session persistency client IP or client IP plus protocol. TCP reset, enable or disable. The TCP timeout value, it will check. Now, floating IP, direct server return, make it always disable. What does it mean? Audience, if you look into my screen, this is my paint, right? So client request is appearing to the public load balancer, and from the public load balancer, the internal VM or a backend pool can access it. But if you go for the opposite direction, like your VM when it is responding, does it directly goes to the client using a load balancer, or it can take any other path to send the traffic to the client? There is a process, means there is a options where when client is sending the response to the client, since client information is appeared into the client backend pool, backend pool can directly reach to the client, means response is not coming to the public load balancer, and from the load balancer it is not going to the client. The backend pool can directly send the traffic from here to the client. Okay, so to avoid this kind of consequence, see, I am using virtual machine. Maybe my service which is running behind, or anything that is running behind, if they have an option to forward the traffic directly to the client, then load balancer will be bypassed in case of response. But that should not be happen. Like, so in that case, what we can do, we have to minimize the problem, means we have to restrict the problem by disable this option, floating IP, direct server return. Don't enable this. If you enable this, then your backend pool or your service can send the traffic directly to the client. Okay, using Azure Network. So make it disable. Create implicit outbound rules. If you need any kind of NAT rules for incoming, you can create the outbound rules for that also. Okay, since I don't have any NAT rules right now, so I can make it no also, or I can make it yes, but it doesn't make any sense unless you have the NAT rules. That option you have just open it. If you do not, if you not create the rules, still it is okay till now. But if you have any NAT rules that I'm going to create, you have to enable this. Later also you can check it. Okay, choice is yours. But for easy process, I've just make it on and go ahead. So this is the rules that I can define in the load balancer as a balancing rule. So here we don't have any specific types of load balance rule, but just to understand my backend health, and based on that, round robin process will happen. So after this balancing the rules, now we can go to the NAT rules. NAT rules is required when you want to use the backend, means you want to prevent your backend infrastructure exposed to the internet as it is. Okay, like your backend server is using port number 80, but in your outside external user is using port number 443. Okay, so I'm just giving one example. So in this way you can define the NAT rules. Okay, so let's see how it is. I will create the NAT rules for the RDP. Okay, so my front end pool is here. Now service, if you click it, since I'm going to use for RDP, I will choose this one, or I can choose any other protocol, MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL. So SQL, the database people can have this SQL related stuff. Okay, for my case, I'm going to use RDP. Protocol is TCP or something else, it's okay. And now go to the next port number. Before I mention the port number, let me choose. If I have multiple standalone virtual machine and I want a specific virtual machine to log in for using RDP, I can choose the virtual machine. Okay. And the port number it is showing 3389, that is a customized port number that will be applicable with the load balancer IP address. For example, I say 3232. This is the port number. That using this port number, the external client can call my VM, but my VM will respond with response against the port number called 3389. That is the RDP port number, right? So when I choose my virtual machine, okay, I have to choose the IP address of the VM, and I have to enable the port mapping. Without port mapping, sorry audience, RDP cannot be possible. So RDP port number I have to mention here, 3389, and do the OK. Okay. Prod NAT rules 1. Okay. Save the NAT rules. Now, if you want to access your virtual machine, since my virtual machine having no uh, public IP available, so I can access my virtual machine by using this load balancer public IP. Okay. To do this, what I need to do, I need to call my RDP. Sorry. So I have to use this IP address 52.177.92.22. 52.177.92.22 and mention the customized port number that I have mentioned there, 3232, like this. And now I can do the connect. So my administrative user is student, password is password, and try to establish the connection with my VM. Login attempt failed, maybe password I mentioned wrong. Sorry. Hmm? That is the student credential that were used to connect. Password is password. This password or that password. More choice. Or B. That 1, 2, 3. Maybe the password is wrong. I mentioned it. So where is the password? Hmm. That is the load balancer public IP you can see, but there is no option for changing the password, audience. I think I have forgot the password, what I mentioned there. Hmm. Change the track password. Hmm. Security. Let me check that. Do I have any option to change the admin password?
What is the option reset password in the settings here?
Where reset password? Where that option I'm finding.
Yeah, bottom settings at VM spoke always spoke VM1. That screen I saw once.
You saw, na?
Yeah, I saw that RPA spoke VM1. Instead of in security, just go back.
Mm-hmm.
In settings, I saw reset password.
Settings, connect disk, security extension, availability configuration,
Scroll
Just
down, scroll down.
below, scroll
Last one.
down.
Boston backup. Yes, here. Built-in administration, reset the remote desktop service configuration. You should reset the password for the user. Student password is 55.rb3. Update it. Once you have logged into the VM, you should reset the password for that user. Let's see. Let it change the password. Let the password change, and let me check. Done. So now what I can do, for a while, 3232. VMAT configuration, this one, port mapping, 3389. TCP port, UDP port, surface. Three three eight nine. I mentioned that thing. Save it. Hmm. 33891. Mentioned. Let me get the okay. Student password is password. Now it is okay.